When you're ready.
Hello, welcome to Home of the Dance, the channel on history and board gaming.
A bit more.
I can't. You gave it. I don't have the.
You don't. Yeah, you don't.
The flair for.
But it comes with practice.
Yeah.
But thanks, Joe, for being here. And we promised for the 4K subscribers to do a tour de la collection, something like this. So I'm not sure. And I have an announcement at the end of the video about that specific collection. So watch until the end.
Definitely have to watch the end.
Yes, exactly. Really important. We need this.
Don't skip to the end.
No. That would be cheating.
Watch the whole video.
I need the watch time.
The analytics.
Yeah, exactly. The analytics needs to go up. Always up.
So what we'll do is we'll go through shelf by shelf.
Yeah,
I think.
sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
You start in the top left.
Yeah, top left. Okay, sounds good.
Where is not usually on camera.
No. So usually on camera, what happens is that I'm using the webcam here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the it would be something like this.
Yeah.
So, and that's good because that's my publisher.
Yeah.
So my publisher thinks that I only have game from GMT, so that's all great and all good. But actually I have games from a lot of other publishers.
So there'll be games here that people maybe don't know that you have at the top.
Yes, yeah. So this one we covered in the show because Jon was here and we had the Stitch and Play. So Pax Viking, one of the latest one that I got from Iron Game Design. So
how does it compare to the other Pax games?
I would say it's way more accessible. It shares a lot of similarities, but also a lot of subtle differences, which is quite surprising. And I just love the way it depicts Vikings overall compared to most board games that I've seen.
That's
Viking depiction.
Something you're getting into quite a lot.
Yes, definitely. We'll probably talk about other games about Vikings on the channel, but that's the idea. We'll be with Stuart and his friend from Ludography, so we'll probably play other games about it.
And then you've got a bunch of troops on a map type games.
Yeah, dudes on a map. Yeah.
Lord of the Ring, Oath, Innis.
Yeah. So I would say if I look at the whole here, there is a lot of games that I really love that are not traditional war games, and probably some of my favorite games. And I would say my absolute all-time favorite is Innis.
Really?
Yeah, probably one of my favorite games. Even like Wargame included. I think.
How much more enjoyable does the expansion make it?
I like Vanilla Innis. So I think the expansion is cool. It adds some really cool stuff. But I think Innis we got, I don't know how many, probably 60 plays, something like this. Yeah. Wow. And I actually really love the Vanilla one. I think it's great. But yeah.
Is this a game you think people who are traditional wargamers, they should probably you would encourage to check out more?
Yeah, definitely.
Or is there not as much?
There is not really a big overlap, but there is something that is interesting about the way it uses card and how simpler decks of card can actually make really sharp gameplay because everyone knows the deck and you have that whole dynamic about more or less knowing what everyone can do, and I think it creates so much tension. And I think it's sometimes something that I would like to see in CDGs, but maybe more diplomatic, where the amount of information is more important. Yeah. I think it does a lot of great stuff. I think it's just an amazing design, a beautiful game. I think it's really great.
You mentioned diplomatic. That leads quite good onto Crescent Moon.
Yeah, quite new, great game, looks beautiful. Also was covered on the channel. We played it with other coin game designers and talked about it because it's an asymmetric game like this. Super interesting in its theme. The only thing that I would say about this game is that it benefits really from the full player count, and it's a bit frustrating that it's not as good.
5 as well.
Yeah, and it has to be 5, so that's a bit frustrating. But when it's 5, it's really great, and it's
you played at 4.
Yeah, 4 and 5.
That's what you did play at 5. Yeah,
but 4 is good, but something is missing.
Definitely. Small game that's had a reprint recently. Just a little root building one.
Yes, very nice.
Terra Mystica.
Yeah,
beefiest Euro of all time.
My statement for Terra Mystica is boring in a smart way.
It burns my brain. I can't play it. I don't know The Expanse. I don't know what that is.
Oh, so The Expanse is a game by Geoff Engelstein. So a designer that is known within Wargame Circle, but also in classical board game because he's moving across. And it's actually a really, really good game. It gets some element from a bit of coin in the fact that the factions are asymmetric.
Okay, interesting.
It does take a bit of ideas from PAX because you have a market of cards.
Okay.
And then it's a classical CDG because you have ops and event.
Okay.
And it's just, it should be played a lot more. A lot more people should have.
Any favors with that cover though? Really,
no, the cover looks really like shit. It's very dark and everything. And I think maybe I think the game could
be... Is it an IP, The Expanse?
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's an IP. Right. So it's a series of books, but this was made when the TV series was released.
Okay.
And I think, but the system itself could probably be applied to a lot of
I'll check that out then. First GMT game?
No, it wasn't my first.
The first.
Yeah, the first GMT game in the collection.
We're getting towards it.
Yes.
The two kind of more 4X games.
Yeah, 4X games.
The
definitely.
sci-fi.
Yeah. And I would say this one way more easy to get on the table than Dune. Have this old school feel that I really like about it. You have a bit of bookkeeping on your table and everything.
Are you interested in the expansions at all for this, or is that not something that's?
I feel like I haven't played Space Empires enough.
Yeah, I'd like to play this one. This is a classic.
Yes.
Nothing. You can't really. No expansions for this either.
No expansions. Just the vanilla one. Yeah.
Will probably be a classic, but it's definitely. Have you got many co-op games? This is...
No, I don't think I've got many co-op games. I think that might be one of the only ones that I have here. I'm not really big on co-op. I don't know why, because I think it's a great mechanic, but no, that's
I prefer to like crush the enemy.
Yeah, probably. But I think it's one of my only co-op games. Yes.
We'll go down here, I guess. What's this?
So Dungeon Degenerates is a really weird game. It's like a sort of, I don't know how you would say.
The art is crazy.
Yeah, the art is crazy, and it's like it's a work of love from the designer, who's also an illustrator. Very talented, very talented guy. I forgot his name now that I'm thinking about it, but it's like an old school role-playing dungeon crawler-ing thing. It's beautiful. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Maybe as a game, it's not the best game system ever. But the stories are great. You have a lot of small expansions. You have a lot of item cards that make it's just a lot of fun.
Kind of like almost a bit. I can't know what the art style is. Maybe like Judge Dredd, like in a bit of a way.
Yeah, it's a bit like 80s hardcore stuff like punk rock stuff like this. And it's but a bit more colorful. I think that's the 2000 vibe to it. But
on the top here, we'll go through these really quickly. Bunch of small games. Condottiere.
Smaller card-driven games.
Classic.
Condottiere, and that's, I would say, thanks to Adam, who made me discover it. I didn't know Condottiere before. It's a classic, and now I know why. I think it's amazing, and I would like to do something with the system at some point. Joraku, the first trick-taking with dudes on a map game that I've ever played. So you actually have area control and everything, but trick-taking at the core. For people who like Brian Boru, for example, or stuff, or excited by arcs, I would say definitely pick up Joraku, because
it's cheap as well. It's $15 or something like that.
A lot of the ideas are already really interesting in there.
Is this trick taking? No, it's deck building.
No, this is more deck building. Yeah, deck building and building a bit your engine, something like this.
This is interesting.
It reminds me a bit of kind of out of that Motanai vibe.
Watergate. We've talked about this on the channel a lot of times.
Yes, love it. I think probably one of the very best simple two-player CDG. I think it's just amazing.
Another GMT, but it's not really in line with other GMT games battle line, is it? Because
Rainer Knizia.
So it's a two-player push and pulley game.
Yes, exactly. Where you have 9 flags and you make a card combination. Julia's favorite game, probably. I've
never played battle line.
Played it a lot. It's really fun.
The more sellable version is Shot and Totten, right?
Yes, Shot and Totten is the mainstream one. Yeah,
slightly different.
And I think the medieval version that they released recently with the new artwork did really well. So this one is the classic.
I've heard the production of the medieval one is not as good as this one.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen it. But this one is great. For me, it's an all-time classic.
I mean, this is nuts.
Yeah, those are the 2 mini nuts games. So Mini Rogue, which I've...
That's actually co-op. That's a co-op game.
Yes, that's a co-op game. I've only played the print and play. I still haven't played the physical copy of the game.
It's quite good. It's cheap, fun, little dungeon crawler thing.
I think the system was...
What it wants to do, it does. 300, quite, I'd say, comparable in there. How much space these two take up.
Yeah, totally in love with 300. I've raved a lot about it on the channel already. Yeah. I think it's an amazing introductory war game. I don't think it can be...
I think the Watergate and this, you couldn't go wrong with these two.
One is more on the political side. Yeah. The other one is more on the military. But I think if you have those two, you have two of probably the very best light card-driven games.
A lot of root in the back here.
But not all of it. I stopped after the first expansions and they didn't take anything afterwards.
There's a lot more now, isn't there? You probably feel...
Yeah, you could fill one of the shelf, and I realized that in the end, I mostly play the core route, and I think that's good enough for me. And then I mostly play it on the app anyway. So.
Oh, really? Is the app good?
Yeah, I play it mostly on Switch.
Okay.
And the thing that I like about it is that you can play multiplayer cross applications. So usually when I play it, someone is on their computer, another one is on their phone, I'm on my Switch. And it's just super easy. Wow. You've got some expansions on there, so you have the most interesting factions.
I should pick that up. That looks fun, actually.
And it's great. And for me, it replaced playing it on the board, basically. So yeah.
Blood Bowl, Team Manager. I don't know anything about this.
It's awesome. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to fans of Blood Bowl. I'm not a fan of Blood Bowl, but I think that it's still cool IP and everything. So it was at the time where Games Workshop was having quite a lot of partnerships with FFG. And they had this team management deck building game called Blood Bowl. And so this is that. This is the core box. This is the expansion. And it's hard because this shelf
doesn't it?
Yeah, this shelf is full of really good games, but this one is actually, I think, is really it's extremely fun. It unfortunately now it's pretty expensive, but if you can get a copy, if someone doesn't want to play with it and they have it in their collection, pick it up. It's just an amazing game.
We've got a bunch of. Are these what's the name for
those?
Those
are the Button Shy games.
Yes, Button Shy. Yeah. I haven't played any of these. There's like 18 cards.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, 18 card game. So you have the latest one, Battle Crest, which is a tactical card game. Pretty cool with the expansion. Then you've got Splotter, which is like
I've heard of that one.
Puzzle game. Very, very good.
That's like some of them are play on words of other big games, right?
Yes.
There's like Food Chain Island.
Yeah,
Sure,
exactly.
like,
Yeah. There is a bit this vibe, definitely. Season of Rice, tile laying game, super interesting with different seasons. So you have different phases in the game. Actually, there is actually a lot of interesting decisions to make in such a small game, which is super impressive by that collection.
Yeah.
Tusimusi.
Yeah, so that's the
Elizabeth
same designer
Hargrave.
as Wingspan and Mariposi's.
Yes, exactly. So I expected a lot from this one because it was from her, and then I played it and I was like, meh. So especially compared to the others, So I think it's a beautiful game. It's interesting and everything, but I think it's maybe a bit weaker, at least for me, than the other one. And then my absolute favorite, Liberation.
Okay.
Which is, I would say, if I had to sum it up, Star Wars Rebellion in 18 cards.
Wow.
Which is
that's high praise.
Yeah,
high praise.
Just mind blowing. Really, really cool. So those are the Button Shy games.
I don't know what this is. Mare
Nostrum. So that's something from Academy Games, a big 4X Civ building game. Very fun, very
90
light.
minutes, is that accurate? 90 minutes?
If players know what to do, I would say it's accurate.
I think people are always looking for a 4X game that doesn't play in 3 hours plus.
And then that would be this. The system is really great. There is a bit of everything. You've got, it's a really classic 4X, but it's really well executed. So really cool.
Couple euros, Flamme Rouge. Not really a Euro, really a bit different.
Yeah.
And Terraforming Mars.
Terraforming Mars may be one of my favorites after Inish. So really, really good. But it got a bit kicked out but we haven't played it that much enough. But the small card...
Ares Expedition.
The card version that is really cool.
Down here.
Yeah, yes, it's here. Yeah.
Obsession.
Haven't played it.
Brand new.
Just got it. Tried to convince my partner to play it. I think she's gonna like it, but who knows? We never know. But super excited about it.
This, I think, I haven't played it either, but from what I know, falls into that category of if you're into wargaming and you don't play Euros, this is maybe one that you could give a try because of how thematic the rules are.
Yes.
Is that the designer? You can tell that he really. It's almost like from what I know, the rules are written as if he just was scribbling all night, and he was like, and this is why I did this, and this is why I did this, and this is why it's so thematic.
And there is actually a pretty big, thick book where you have his notes and everything.
Every decision he made, he's trying to make it thematic. So in the same way that you have,
is it still recording?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
Next
shelf, more Euros, Tyrants of the Underdark.
So Tyrants of the Underdark, deck building, dudes on the map game, super interesting. Really
just got a reprint last year, I think, as well.
Pretty cheap. Don't take the plastic tokens. Like cardboard is fine. Everything should be cardboard anyway.
Ticket to Ride, not in English.
Les Aventuriers du Rail, yes. Europe, amazing game.
Very good.
Yes.
Yeah. And then on the Underground, I've heard is also very good.
It's very good. It's very good. It's a few steps up from Les Aventuriers du Rail, but also that network building thing.
Yep.
Picked it up at SN 2019, and very cool
I've heard
game.
very good things about this. A War of Whispers.
So we have conflicting positions on this one.
Yes, I'm not such a fan of this game, but I think that's because it promises so much. I think it couldn't live up. My expectations of this were quite high.
Yeah.
But it does something really cool, doesn't it? Because no one you don't control a faction each. Everyone can control all factions.
And that's the thing. For me, this is mainstream PAX game in a way.
Yeah,
So it's very accessible to everyone. You're not controlling a faction. So the factions on the board, you're influencing. So all of the factions or every player's faction. And then you're aiming for political position that will let you influence the different factions on the board.
Just quite awesome. Actually, very similar, I've just realised, to Prince of the Renaissance by Martin Wallace.
We need to play it.
Actually very similar in terms of the way it scores at the end. Viticulture, we were talking about Wingspan before, it's the same publisher. Worker placement game,
like it's
almost a classic now.
Yes, I think it's and well deserved.
Sherlock, this is co-op as well.
This is co-op as well, yeah, that's true. You can play it solo, but we play it co-op. This is the French version.
Of Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective.
Yes,
so
really good.
Given a bunch of sheets, you've got to figure out through reading through the papers and stuff like that, whatever particular scenario you're playing.
I think it's an amazing system.
It is a cool system. I've only tried it once, and it was like 4 a.m. and we were very drunk, and it did not go well. But it's very, very, it's hard as well.
It's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard to have a good score. Last time we played, we got into an argument because we didn't agree on what we wanted to do. We need to play it again, I think. Yeah, because we had a lot of good times also with it. But yeah.
I mentioned Prince of the Renaissance. That's Martin Wallace. This is also Martin Wallace, London.
Yes.
Tableau builder. Very interesting mechanics.
And I haven't played it since I'm in London, so I think I would, because now I would like to play it again, because now I would know all of the neighborhoods and everything, and I could say, hey, this is around here. So yeah, I would like to play it again.
This is a great game.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not saying everyone, but most people should play this once, because it's very, very, I think it's quite thematic.
Yeah.
As thematic as it can be.
Yeah, I think so, for that kind of game. But I would like to play it again. And now we're getting into the first game that I haven't played in my collection.
You haven't played Bonfire?
No.
So this is by Stefan Feld.
Yes.
Designer of Castles of Burgundy. It's probably most well known for.
And I haven't played any of his games.
Really?
So that would be the first one.
It's a real point salad. Quite similar to Tranjan by Stefan Feld as well. There's 6 different things you can do. They all give you points. Has an expansion you don't need, apparently.
And that's good. I don't like expansion.
Theme is extremely pasted on. It's the driest Euro, maybe.
That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But it's just interesting that they went with gnomes for some reason.
Yeah,
it's an interesting.
I mean, why not?
But that's the most Euro-y. No, it was Terra Mystica, but it's a classic Euro.
Those
style.
Two are very German style.
And then on to Splotter Spellen from the Netherlands, Zimbabwe, the Great Zimbabwe. Bus, Antiquity, Food Chain Magnate.
And Bus, I want to stress...
Is this the capstone version, or this is...
No, that's the original. That's the original version, yeah.
Wowzers. Wait, from the original?
The original.
From 1999?
I think so, or maybe it's their second printing. I need to check.
I think the original that they brought to Essen, they brought like 10 copies or something stupid. But that is a really old version.
Yeah, that's a really old version. So you have the rule book like this. I don't know if there is a date here, but you have... Yeah.
And the board is like, they made it in 2 minutes.
Yes, and the board is, and I will add a picture on screen because I don't want to pick it up, but it's the same art style as this. So it's really hand drawn and everything. So yeah, I don't have the capstone one, and I'm really happy to have this one.
The capstone one is, if you can't find the capstone one, they're not printing anymore. So this becomes even more rare now. The value goes up.
But I like my Splotter game. Splotter.
Yeah.
Like, I want them,
it's interesting that they had that deal with Capstone though. For people who don't know, this is a worker placement game essentially.
Yes.
But it's kind of like Dominant Species in the way that you don't put it down, take the action. Everyone puts them down, and then they go in a certain order, right?
And I think all of their games have like a few brilliant ideas in them.
Yeah.
And I think this one, the brilliant idea in them is how it plays with the turn order.
Yeah.
And I think, and you have it a bit in the Great Zimbabwe, it's important in other of their games, and also Food Chain Magnate. But here it's like dialed to the maximum. It's amazing. And I would say this is probably the most...
This is huge. This has this is a war game amount of counters.
Yeah, and actually you play on hexes, you have a lot of counters, and you're probably better off
It's an economic game though, right?
Yes, but you're better off using tweezers. There is zones of control of it. There are line of supplies. So it's the most...
And like other big war games, it's also incredibly expensive as well.
Yes, it is also super expensive.
Very, very hard to find Antiquity now. And I think even at retail, because of the number of components, it was very, very expensive.
I think it's an expensive one to produce too, but it's like for the OCS players out there that want to play a non-war game, this is for them.
Back to Zimbabwe, also economic.
Yes. I only played it once with you.
Yeah, we played it
we need
online
to play it
on
again.
TTS. It's a cool game.
Yes.
It's if Bus's thing is the player order thing, then for this it's the every upgrade you choose to take means that you need more points to win. So
yes, yeah.
Fred may need
the trade-off. Yeah.
You may need 20 points to win, whereas I might need 40, but I have way more upgrades. Where are we going? Like who's gonna get that? You know?
Yeah.
Food Chain Magnate, also economic, really. Their most popular game. This has had 11 printings now, I think.
Yeah, it's insane. I think that it's yeah.
No expansion for this as well.
No, I would like to have maybe but we haven't played it enough to get the
this is the
expansion.
This is a crazy game, very popular. You don't have none of the other ones of interest to you that they've done.
So I wanted.
I think the biggest one that you don't have here would be
Indonesia.
Yeah.
Indonesia is the one that I want.
You can play that on. Is it on Rally the Troops or is it on?
I don't think it is.
Core?
I think it's on. Yeah,
Board Game Core.
I think it's over there. But Indonesia is the only one that I would like to have, and then I'm super excited about the new one about the emergence of cars.
Yes, Horseless Carriage.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that comes out, I think, towards the end of this year.
So this one, the new one I'm interested in, and then Indonesia is also one that I'm super interested in.
Not Roads and Boats.
Not really.
Someone was selling Roads and Boats at the UK Game Expo, the big one.
Yeah, the really big one. I saw the pictures, yeah. But I don't know.
Enormous.
I'm happy with the one that I have here for now. Yeah.
On the top, another Fantasy Flight game.
Yes.
Battle for Rokugan.
Yeah.
This is kind of the same system as the Game of Thrones board game-ish.
Yes. So it's interesting because for me, I didn't pick it because it was the same as Game of Thrones. I picked it because it was Hidden Orders, and for me it was
Hidden Orders is good. Yeah,
it was the same as this game that I really love, that also has Hidden Orders. Yeah, Strike of the Eagle by Academy Games. This one seemed of course a lot more accessible and less wargaming.
Yeah. And then onto bottom left here.
Final
shelf here.
So John Company just got it, haven't played it, playing it on Wednesday at the Cardboard Emperor's Wargame Club.
This is a big boy.
Yeah, chunky boy.
Not next to, something that I want to ask you, this isn't sat next to Pax Vermeer. The order of the collection, does that matter much? Because people can see that you've got coin lined up.
So there is like, that's typically me. There is the beginning of a system that is not fully... that I don't fully deliver on.
Very telling this, Fred.
Yes, so I was like, I'm going to have all of GMT here, and I'm going to have the coin, and then the different stuff. And then with time, it becomes chaotic. And then I was like, on the left, I'm going to have the Euro games, and on the middle, I'm going to have everything in the middle. And it's just, now you actually have quite a lot of war games here, mixed up with Euro games, and
So next to it, you've got...
Crusade and Revolution. Amazing Path of Glory style game on the Spanish Civil War by David Gomez Reyoso. Also, we had the Teach and Play on the channel, so go and check it out.
Definitely.
It's an amazing game.
And then next to it, another Compass game, No Peace Without Spain.
Yes, so this is the...
Is that so you'll have to tell me about that. Is that the first one using that system? Or
yes, that's the first one of that system.
Yeah.
There is a new one that was released just recently.
Yeah.
And then Brotherhood and Unity, which I think is probably one of the most exciting games that were
Bosnia.
That were released in the CDG space. So it's one of the most interesting CDG. Yeah. Great design.
Triumph of Chaos version 2. I don't know about this. What's going on here?
What's going on here? So Lenin is here. So that's already something is happening. So this is the big. Card-driven game on the Russian Civil War. So that's by David Doctor. It's an amazing game. This one got a reprint for that version, that new V2 Deluxe version, because the other one was like a classic, like a cult game, very hard to find.
When was the original?
I think it was. I don't remember. I would say probably in the 2010s.
Okay.
2000, something like something like this. And this one was reprinted in 2018. It's a big boy. It's pretty complex.
Is it?
Yeah. It's pretty complex. I wouldn't start with this. It's a hard game to get into.
Yeah, it looks pretty meaty.
But it's a really brilliant game.
Next to that, totally switching lanes.
Yes.
This has been on the channel multiple times. I think we talked a lot about it in the Discord.
Yeah.
If you want to join the Discord, donate some money via Ko-fi.
Yes.
That's on. Sometimes Fred says he'll put it in the description and he doesn't do it.
Yeah, but it might be in the description.
It'll be in the channel, about the channel on the YouTube. It's definitely there. Because if you give some money towards the channel, you'll get a link, and there's a bunch of us in there talking about everything. We're talking about trick-taking games, talking about war games, talking about Euro games, talking about game designing.
Yes, yeah, we do cover a lot of stuff. It's a cool community. The thing that I would say is that if you back, don't expect to get the invite straight away because
it's not an automatic system.
It's not automatic. It's just
Fred is
me
up at
sending
night.
it. Yes.
But we've talked about this a lot. You've interviewed Per as well about it.
I love it. I love it. I love Per as a designer, and I think
same.
this one is one of his
I
great
think
games.
He may be my favourite designer. However, we do disagree on this game a little bit as well. We've talked about before.
I really like it.
It is good. It's definitely good. But it's one of those other ones again that What player count did you like to set? Is it 4?
I played all player counts.
I think you definitely preferred a player count.
I think I preferred 4.
4, yeah.
4
5
was good. 5 was a bit too much.
Yeah.
3 I thought was missing, and 4 was really good.
It's a very. If you've played trick-taking games in any capacity, I think you should give Brian Borrow a go, because we mentioned.
Yeah, it's very different. This one takes trick-taking, Joraku takes trick-taking very literally. I think that the thing with Per is that he always have this idea of going sideways to your expectation, and you think, oh, it's going to be a trick-taking game with interaction on the board, but it does trick-taking in a very different way, and it gives players really interesting decisions because you want to lose tricks in a way often, and you want to lose the right ones, which I think is really great.
Brand new,
just got it from...
new.
Yeah, just got it from Ion. So they sent it over so we could have a look at it.
Yeah, we might even play this soon and talk about it in the Discord as well. This is another one that's been...
Probably, yeah.
It's an interesting one. It says you are a
doctor. In ancient Rome.
Yeah.
And you're basically fighting for, competing for reputation.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly how it is. I haven't read
how much euro it will be.
Yeah, I don't know. So I guess we'll give it a try.
We'll have to find out.
And as I want to do more Eurogamey or classical board games anyway on the show, so it could be a good fit.
We mentioned Terraforming Mars. You said you played Ares Expedition a lot more.
Only once. Europe Divided. David Thompson. Video on the YouTube channel. Yes, and then also the live game against the guy from the podcast Secret Cabal. That, if I remember well, I lost dramatically. And some inspiration from this. So I would say that there is definitely a sort of connection. I don't know if David had played this before doing this, but you really can feel that there are some similar ideas between the two. And that's, I was saying, a very...
more relevant than ever.
Yeah, more relevant than ever, exactly.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Well, we were talking about RPGs. You've got one up there. RPG, D&D down here.
Yeah, D&D here.
And the Quiet Year there.
The Quiet Year over there, yeah.
RPG is not something you've done too much.
No, not really, and I would like to explore a bit more. We've talked a bit on the channel about RPG recently, and I hope to convince Luke to teach me the Quiet Year, and I would like to play Dungeons and Dragons again. I only played a couple of times when I was a teenager, and I would like to go into it a bit more
definitely
seriously.
Having a renaissance in the last couple of years as well.
Yeah, definitely, and that's super curious about it, but never really had the opportunity.
Tons of games.
So then we get into the war games because the organization is a bit of a mess, but there is a kind of consistency. Less wargamey, unless it's at the bottom. I don't know why. More wargamey, unless it's at the bottom, which I don't know why either. Here we get into the MMP stuff. And I would say, so you have a few games from the International Game Series with Warriors of God that was covered on the show.
Yep.
We did
There's a podcast available. It's on Spotify, all that stuff, but it's also on YouTube.
I did the YouTube version. So it was a Game of the Month before summer. And the Game of the Month is a game club where every month the backers of the Homo Ludens channel on the Discord server all vote for a game, and then we learn it together, we play it together, and then at the end of the month, for the people who want to talk about it, we just go to the podcast and we talk about the game.
There's been this. There's been Pax Porfiriana.
Yes.
There's been what's the current one? Oh, The
current one is Supply Lines of the American Revolution.
Yep, the northern specifically.
The northern one specifically. We had Men of Iron, and then we had Sekigahara. I think that covers all of it. Yeah.
None of the games I want to play are yet to get there.
Yes, so but they're going to come.
Please donate, join, and then vote for the games I want to play.
And to join, you have to donate on Ko-fi, and I will add the link in the description.
So you can throw in some suggestions, and Louise will rig it every game.
Yes, Louise keeps cheating, but anyway, join us. SCS, so I only have a couple of them, but it's a system that it's a bit old school, but I think it's really interesting, very accessible. If you want to get into operational war games, I think SCS is the best series for that. So that's pretty one, which is a bit of an oddity.
Truly history and board games.
Yes, yeah, this is literally an historical artifact. It's from People's Wargame, the publishing company from Jack Reddy. Jack Reddy was interviewed on the show, a very interesting designer, an historian specialized on the Eastern Front. What makes him special, and you can see it from the name of his publishing company, the colors, the fact that you have a Soviet military on the box. Whereas at that time, most of the games from the East Front, you had a glorious SS person on it.
Yeah.
Well, it's because Jack was a bit more on the left side of the political spectrum, and he did some really interesting games, and he was really advanced in the way of depicting the Red Army. And actually, history after that gave him reason, because like a lot of the way we saw the Eastern Front changed in the 90s. Helsinki and W1815 from UNP Games, super interesting games. W1815, I think a classic in the sense that it created its own genre of war games.
Yeah.
Super cool. Love it. Love the company. They're working now on a Napoleonic hex encounter, brigade level something. Yeah, super cool. We'll see what comes.
And then this is maybe. I think
this is your show.
These are big hitters. You know? Covered on the show. Did a play with.
So that's Maria.
Maria, Dan Bullock.
Yes, Dan Bullock and
Joe.
and Joe from what's the name of his channel?
What does that piece do?
Yeah, what does that piece do?
Yeah.
Awesome new YouTube channel. So we're playing with the two of them.
Yeah.
Really fun. PAX Renaissance, probably one of my favorite PAX. Played with Dan Turo and Joe Dewhurst recently. And then this, maybe I should teach you at some point.
The
Conqueror series.
Yeah.
So Napoleon 1806, Napoleon 1807, and Napoleon 1815. 1815 is in the storage. So
the vault.
Yes,
it's in the
vault. From Chaco's Games, probably one of the best block game system, and a really good system overall. Really love it.
You've got Verdun
on top. Yeah.
The art in this is phenomenal. This is a piece of art.
Yeah, it's really a beautiful game.
And then this is the newest one.
Yes, Wars of Religion, very different system, super interesting system.
Publisher.
Yeah, same publisher, and you have a teach and play, but it's only if you speak French. So good luck with that. But yeah.
Then we get more diversified again.
Yes.
Across the Bug River.
Yes, so that's from VUCA Simulation, a very interesting hex encounter system with a lot of variability, so pretty interesting. And next to it, you have the opposite, very old school Area Impulse game from Avalon Hill. Then you've got Per Sylvester again, The King is Dead.
Phenomenal game.
The Undaunted, so this contains all of it.
All of it that's currently out, yeah.
Yes, all of it that's currently out. Normandy, North Africa, and all the reinforcements. The 2 box for Virsindas Volk and the 2+2.
Yeah.
And here you have some really interesting games. You've got Pax Pamir, Revolution 1979 from Dan Bullock, we mentioned for the Maria game. Super interesting card-driven game about Iran. And something that maybe one day we'll cover on the show. So we did Men of Iron, and it's a bit of the same vibe. So that's The Charge of the Three Kings. It's a
beefy boy.
It's pretty.
He's got the weight.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a
this
big
is
one.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah, artwork by Ivan Caceres, amazing.
This phenomenal artwork.
Yes,
this is really good.
Just magnificent. Really interesting game. Medieval battle.
Just on top, Saladin from Chateau, same publisher as
Napoleon 1806.
This is much smaller.
Yes, it actually has a lot of similarities with W1815. Same kind of system, where you have the thing that Riccardo Massini called fixed maneuver, which is super interesting.
I'd like to try this. This is good. Blitzkrieg, very good.
Awesome.
Paolo Mori, great designer.
Yeah.
No more for his Euro games really, but he's like Per in that he's constantly innovating, doing something new.
I actually played a non-historical type of game from him. I discovered him with a Pandemic Fall of Rome, which I thought was amazing.
Yep.
And then I played this, which I thought was also amazing. And then I played another game from him called Ethnos, which I think is just so good.
Ethnos is a very, very good game and is in desperate need of a reprint.
Yeah.
Definitely. This is more wargamey.
Yes.
We're going to go start from this side because we just mentioned Dan.
Yeah, another game
This is
from
another
Dan.
game from him.
That's that
No Motherland Without.
he sent over, and that's really nice. I played it a couple of times.
Very high on my list as well.
Beaut-
So it's a CDG, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's an amazing game. And I wanted to cover it on the show, and I think one day I might. The reason why I didn't cover it is because I'm a bit upset with the publisher because of the production value of it. I think
It's not done its justice.
it's not doing it justice. They could have done so much more. It feels rushed, a bit sloppy. And you have in there a beautiful game that I feel like the publisher could have given more respect
I've
to.
looked at. It's very red, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's an understatement to say that it's really red. Yes, it is very red. Hearts and Mind, Vietnam War, CDG, excellent system, pretty accessible. The thing that I love about it is its modularity. You can start at any year and at any year, so you can really fix your playtime and everything, which is awesome. And it's so as you can see here,
down at the bottom.
Yeah, so those are the games that are incoming, so games that I'm working on, so content is going to come on the channel, so that gives you a bit of a hint, but it was some
crazy games down there.
So you've got Fire in the Lake and the Fall of Saigon expansion here, and this is like the easier to get to the table version of this, because it's 2-player, it can play faster, it's easier and everything, but maybe one day I would like to do a comparison between the two.
That's a good idea. One of the only games here still in shrink.
Yes, Granada. One day I will open it. Same system as Sekigahara, but a different period of time.
Yep.
This one again, Ivan Caceres on the artwork. So beautiful game, but haven't played it yet.
Now these are both
solo games.
David Thompson.
David Thompson solo games. So Pavlov's House and Soldier in Postman Uniform.
Yep.
And I must admit, those two. Haven't played them yet.
No.
Yes.
Solo is almost, it should be easier, but almost.
For me, it's harder. Yeah. I don't play a lot of solo games, and this is hard for me to get into.
Napoleon Returns, another 1815 game.
Yes, super interesting game from Worthington. Really good surprise. I took it because it shared some similarities with Napoleon 1806, and I wanted to see what they did with it. It's a bit simpler. It has a lot of good ideas. For me, it doesn't have the same impact as this. But I was still very pleasantly surprised. Okay. So that was good.
Another Napoleon game.
Yes, Napoleon's Triumph.
Cult classic, really.
Yes, big classic, hard to find.
Very hard to find.
But there is, in a somewhat closed system, Bonaparte à Marengo is going to be republished by in a new and upgraded version by Histo Games.
It's going to be coming out very soon.
In a few months, I think, and we should have it featured on the show. So expect some news about this. And then Hands in the Sea, same. So that's this, but in but as a first Punic War and a lot more complex, but a great game.
We mentioned Vikings.
Yes. So this one is Steve from the Wargame Club actually lended it to me, and it's actually to work on that Viking thing that I have it.
So then we've got a ton of Hollandspiel games down here, but before that, there's
So this one is a bit of an odd one. Also an historical game, same period as Canev. Origins of World War II. Really odd cover. And this one, the reason why I have it is that it's a very interesting and light 5-player game, which is already quite something interesting. It's about the beginning of World War II and the escalation of tension between the different factions. The reason I have this is that I think it's a really interesting system that is really old. And I think one of my secret dream is to take some of those ideas and make a new game, more modern design, and that's one of the things that I would like to do. Like I think it's a great system. I think it's a really fun game, and I would like to just take it and make it new. And I think that would be a fun design project. So we'll see if a publisher is interested and I find time to do it. That would be great.
Rattle through the Hollandspiel.
Yes. So
table battles.
Table battles. A lot of similarities with W1815 and Saladin. But modular. 2
district commanders.
Yeah, the district commander from Brian Train. So operational level counterinsurgency games.
Yep.
Haven't played them. So those were sent to me by Steven Honganzas, the coin designers who's behind the British Way. So that was really nice. He wanted me to play them and cover them on the show. I still haven't played them, so I'm really sorry about that. But one day. and the current game of the Mounts.
Yep.
Supply Lines of the American Revolution. Really interesting game. Hope to play it a couple of times again.
Thoughts on that will be coming.
Yeah.
Later
Soon.
down.
You'll have the debrief with the others. And then those two still haven't played, so I think we can.
Yeah.
We'll move on.
What? Same for. You said for this one. Holdfast.
Yeah, Holdfast is another Worthington game. So they have this block game.
That's a big boy.
A block game. I would say strategic or operational level. The first one I played was on the Korean War. Really enjoyed it. Then I got the one on the East Front that I also really enjoyed, and then I got this one. Those were games that I really enjoyed at the beginning when I was starting getting into Wargame, and now I actually grew a bit out of them. I was thinking that this one does a lot of interesting things, probably maybe one of the most interesting in the series, but a nice little system, very easy to get into, good for beginners.
And I wanted to ask about this because I didn't actually know this.
So that's
very interesting.
So
what's the comparison there between?
Yeah, so super interesting. I think those two games, I got them at around the same time, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they were released. The new version was released not that long time after the great game from Legion Wargames was released. And I think for me, this is also part of the reason why I love this so much because. So this one is a light card-driven game where one player plays Russia, the other plays the British, and you've got a point-to-point map and armies and everything. It's very classic. And this showed me, I played the two at around the same time, that you could show the same event from such radical different perspective that you could radically change the way the player interacted and understood what was the conflict about and its dynamics and the narrative. Yeah. And I realized how Pax Pamir was brilliant because I played this one. So I mean, I know that can sound mean, and I want to say it's a very nice game, and it's not really to say anything mean about it, but it's just that it made me think a lot because I was doing that comparison.
Yeah.
But just to be clear, Legion Wargames is a really great publisher. They do a lot of interesting games. They're becoming more and more ambitious with their graphic design, also with their topics. So it's definitely a publisher that I follow and enjoy. But it's true that I played them at the same time, and it didn't do a lot of good for this one. But it's an interesting game.
To the Last Man, first game by the same designer as At All Costs.
Yes, exactly. So Tim Taylor, but I think they changed their name at the end of their life, but I'm not sure. But this one was released under the name Tim Taylor, and they did At All Costs with Hollandspiel afterwards.
This is West Front.
So this is West Front.
East.
Yes,
East
exactly. So this is mostly the north and east of France. Other one is the East Front.
Yeah.
And I would say this one is beautiful. A lot more than At All Costs, but At All Costs is, I think, a better game. Yeah. And then that's going to be surprising, but that's a solo game. And that's a solo game that I played a lot, and that I like a lot. That's the State of Siege.
A rarity in your life.
Yeah, Stage of Siege system. I really like this system. This one was the first one in the system, and that's the deluxe reprint from Worthington. So those were released originally by Victory Point Games, and have them in a baggie somewhere over there. I have my bag games in another room. I've played it a lot. I played it Levé en Masse also on the French Revolution a lot. And this one I picked up because the reprint from Worthington is so beautiful.
That looks really well done.
Yeah, it beautiful artwork, beautiful components, contains the expansion, great stuff.
Next one is this War Without an Enemy.
Yeah, also was covered on the show.
On the show,
yeah.
You can watch that. So block card-driven game, kind of, right?
So Columbia kind of war game, but just more. Yeah. Like Scott took the Columbia system and said, "What if I did more with it?" And it really did more. And I have a few Columbia games that I don't know where they are, but some of them are around here. But I think this one is probably one of the best in that type of game.
Democracy Under Siege.
So Democracy Under Siege, Shelf of Shame. Spanish publisher, also emergence of World War II, 3-player game, CDG, looks super interesting.
Yeah, that front cover is different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite insane. It has this very weird diplomatic system and everything. It looks amazing, but I never managed to actually cover it on the show. Maybe one day. I know that Scott Moore knows the game pretty well. Maybe I should get him and do the teach and play with him. I don't know if So Scott, come back. and here it's going to be hard to see, so we can comment.
Well, there's Regicide is another co-op game, deck of cards,
Yes.
tiny.
So this inspired me to do the snail game. So after playing this, I got a lot of ideas to make my snail hunting game. So yeah, I really love that.
Down there you can see Azul. If you don't know Azul, I don't know. Like, Azul is very well known. We talked about Blitzkrieg. There's Caesar.
Maybe
there.
Days of Ire. And you have a lot of trick takers also.
Yeah, The Crew, another co-op game actually.
Yeah.
Is there Race for the Galaxy, classic Euro. Shamans, is that?
Yeah.
Is that Shamans?
Yeah, Shaman's still in Shrink.
But it's a trick-taking game as well.
Trick-taking game as well, yeah.
And then...
But all trick-taking games, it's because... So Adam is here, but he's not... He's over there, so he's no one... But it's because of him. Like, so I also got this. And some Japanese weird trick-taking game.
And then
like really made me fell into it.
Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion is there. And then Dual Powers, which has been covered on the show quite a while ago. You did an actual review of it.
Yes, I did an actual review of it. It was at the time where I was making videos and not live streams. So, yeah, that was that.
So check out that video, because I think I watched that semi-recently, actually. That's a good breakdown for Dual Powers.
Yeah, it's a really interesting game. Just not... The history is a bit wonky, but...
Yeah. And then there's also War by Rainer Knizia.
Yeah, so that's another...
Is it Art of War, is it called? Age of War.
So Age of War, it's a more of a dice game.
Yep.
It's an abstract war-themed game by Rainer Knizia, a bit like Battle Line.
Yep.
Definitely not as good as Battle Line.
They're going to reprint this soon as well.
But interesting.
Villagers is a duel game. Fox and the Forest Duel, or is it Duet? Sorry, that's a trick-taking game as well.
Trick-taking game also.
Pat, you've got in your hand.
So what I'm going to pick up a few stuff from here that I think are going to be interesting. Oh my god.
Oh, there's a lot more down there.
Oh yeah. Oh mon dieu. I collapsed. So yeah.
Deal with that in a bit.
Anyway, that's a mess. I'm just gonna pick up a few. I think just to say what's over there.
These are like small games.
Yeah, those are smaller games.
Big games at the same time.
Yes. So you
Cousins War as well. I didn't know you had that.
So you have a few packs downstairs. So down there, so you've got the old school Pax Renaissance. So that was a gift from Luke. Very nice. Pax Emancipation. Still haven't covered it. Haven't played it. We'll see. Tiny Epic Galaxy, which I think is the best Tiny Epic game by far. So cool.
The Cousins War. Yeah. Which is like a 15-minute game.
I would say more half an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, more half an hour. Super interesting.
Is it card driven?
Yeah, it is a card driven game. Does a lot of interesting things with the card, when you can play it, who can play it. It has a battle resolution system that relies on bluffing. It's a very interesting game. I think it says a lot of interesting things about the War of Roses. I like it a lot. Some people don't. I know that Joe didn't enjoy his experience with it, but I think it's a really cool game. The first light CDG game that I played, this one, Dos de Mayo, it was great when it was released, and it showed that you could do a lot of interesting things in a very small package, but I think a lot of small CDGs were released afterwards, and I'm not sure that this one maybe holds. I would need to play it. I haven't played it in a long time. I enjoyed it when it was released, but it's true that now with 300, with Watergate, with all this, 13 days, it's really hard to beat that. And then Pax Porfiriana, so you've got some of those other stuff. And then the box that collapsed is on the ground now. That's Android Netrunner.
Netrunner,
yeah. So now I have Netrunner.
That's the fan made.
Yeah, that's the Nisei one. Yeah. So now I have Android Netrunner cards all on the ground, but I will take care of this later.
And then there's Motanani as well.
Yeah, Motanai, and we talked a bit about it. Yeah. Motanai, he's here.
Yeah.
We're getting to the GMT shelf.
Yeah, there is Eclipse down there.
Yes, second down for the Galaxy.
Yeah. Which is massive Euro 4X game.
Yes.
Right?
Really, I think this one, what is great about it is...
It's massive, so it's not coming up.
No, I'm not picking it up, but the production value of it and the way it uses the components to simplify the way the game flows, super interesting. And then also down there you have another thing that maybe I should show.
Oh yeah.
Which is the original Columbia type of block game, Quebec 1759. The first block game that was ever released, so that's the second printing of it, with the blocks that are embossed with gold. Still a very fun game.
The production value.
Yeah, the production value is great. Not super easy to put on a shelf. You write your orders at the beginning of each turn on a piece of paper. Just great. Amazing game. But I wouldn't want one of those modern version. I think they're ugly.
Yeah.
I think this one needs to be like this.
Yeah. And then known games.
Yes.
You've got
This is the
Caesar.
We start with to get into the GMT shelf, and I think that most of the people here would know. The only thing that I want to... you've got Angola that is hiding here. One day, Volko said that he might come on the show to do a teach and play, so we'll see if we can do this. But yeah, Angola is...
Infamous.
Yes. I'm going to move things.
Yeah, so Caesar, Rome versus Gaul. Quite interesting. I've read
Covered on the show also. We did the teach and play with... it was with Sean. He had to wake up super early because he lives in Australia, so we did this with him. It was really, really cool.
Imperial Struggle.
Yeah.
New version of Twilight Struggle, everyone knows.
Yeah, very different kind of game.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll probably cover it at some point on the show. Then you've got the Twilight Struggle, Spanish Civil War, Hex and Counter game, Spanish publisher, Spanish designer too. But I would say I prefer the other one, but this one was one of the first big ones, so it was really interesting. But I think Crusade and Revolution, Revolution. Just because it's a CDG, talks to me a bit more.
Yeah. Saints in Armor.
Yeah. So Saints in Armor, so that's my... I played one scenario, Musket and Pack series, so like 30 years war tactical system. And I have it because it's designed by Brian Asclev Hansen, which is the person that made me... that pushed me to game design. I played with him. And it's not for me, but I'm happy to have it. I think it's more of I more have an emotional thing with it more than anything else.
Pax Baltica.
Pax Baltica, so that's the Great Northern War, and it was interesting for me to have this because I'm working with Brian Asclev on a game that is
Baltic Empires.
Yes, Baltic Empires. So so that's something that was more for research more than anything.
Time of Crisis, deck building.
Yeah, deck building, strategy.
Roman.
Awesome, great.
I really want to play that.
It's awesome. Maybe we can play...
It's been up for the Game of the Month a couple of times. And it's never made it.
I hope it's going to be there. And I think it benefits a lot from the expansion. It's not a big expansion. It's just additional cards. But I think the additional cards are interesting and it has a few twists here.
Okay.
So definitely, I need to get the expansion. Rachel, if you're hearing this...
And the box that fits it all in. There's a separate box.
That would be great.
Well. Send that over.
Send all of it.
Yeah, Fading Glory.
So and now you're getting to... Yeah, you've got some Napoleonic. Shores of Tripoli, amazing.
Yep.
Great company, great production. So that's really nice. And then you get some French games here. Actually, you've got
Crusader X as well.
Crusader X, and then you've got those French games from Hexasim. The French area. So you've got 4 games from Hexasim here. Liberty Roads, West 1944, 1945. So from D-Day to Berlin. And then probably the best Napoleonic system ever made. So Eagles of France. So this one is Rising Eagle, Austerlitz 1805 by Walter Wejdowski, who's also the designer of Verdun Steel Inferno. Yeah. Amazing system. Maybe Walter, if you want to come back on the show and do a teach and play of this one, we can do it. I think it's amazing. And other stuff. And you have Columbia game, Crusader Rex over there.
Rex, yeah. And then almost pure.
Almost pure. If you remove a few acres of snow and Maori Wars. Maori Wars
really cool. I want to try
I only got it, and I must admit, I only got it because I love Neil's work so much. So the graphic designer behind this.
The culture of the Maoris is so interesting.
But I've never played the game. I really took it purely for aesthetical reasons, just because it was Neil's. But I would like to play it.
I'd love to play this. This is very good. And then it is pure GMT. We've talked about...
But there is a connection, so because John Poniske made this one and also made Plain Indian Wars. So there is
quite new.
Yes.
4-player.
Yes. So there is...
Looks interesting.
But I haven't played it yet.
No, it looks interesting though.
And then you've got Empire of the Sun.
Yeah.
That's a new version, so this one is still in shrink, but it has been on the show. So those two, Pacific War and Empire of the Sun, both of them teach and plays with Mark Herman. So yeah.
You've got...
Another piece of history in here. So if you're wondering what GMT games used to look like before they were high production values, they look like this. So a lot like people's Wargame. So thin box, thin cardboard, shitty cards, but great games. So this one, maybe I should get Wild Blue Yonder one day because that's the system, but that's the original one.
Yeah.
So is there anything specific that you want me to talk about here? Oh, this is not GMT.
No, that's
so this
true,
is
actually.
Hexasim 2, so that's Great War Commander. That's the Combat Commander system. applied to World War One. So small technical cuts, almost out of battery everywhere. So we'll go fast on that last shelf.
This is known though. People know of.
Wilderness War. So I hope to maybe get Volko on the show for a teach and play. It's now on Rally the Troops.
Oh, is it?
So yeah, that's also the reason why I took it, because it was for very cheap. And sorry, I took it just before you could order it. Yeah.
I think I put it in the Discord and then suddenly it was gone magically.
Yeah, what happened? I'm sorry. But yeah, it's on Rally the Troops, so I think it was the great opportunity, and I would like to have Volko on the show to actually cover it. That would be great. And then you start the coin. So you've got Liberty or Death, Andean Abyss, Cuba Libre, Distant Plain, Falling Sky, and Colonial Twilight. And then we've already seen that down there you've got Fire in the Lake that I just got from the new version.
And you've talked on the show as well with Joe about his. Is it coin, his one?
Yes. So the Pure Land is a coin game. So we will cover it when I think there will be more final artwork. I think we'll do a teach and play and everything, but we'll be waiting for this. But I think probably my favorite coin game. Oh. I might be biased, but I think
we need the rankings.
Yes, maybe I'll do the rankings, but I will wait for Joe's game to be released to do the ranking. But there is also a lot of interesting ones that are going to be released next year.
They've got like 4 on the burner at the moment.
Yes, and 2 of them I've been playtesting a bit, and I really enjoyed them a lot, and I'm really looking forward to them. So People Power is the first one, and the second one is The British Way. The British Way, when I will have released that video, we should have probably started the series playing the full campaign of The British Way. So 4 games with Joe. So super excited about this. Great system, but yeah, I mean, everybody knows that I love coin games, and maybe at some point in 2023 or something like this, I will do a ranking of my favorite coin games, even if I don't have all of them here. But that's a problem for another.
And then you've got
the Levian campaign games, Almoravid and Nevsky.
Covered on the show Nevsky with Lord of the Board. Yes,
with Sam from Lord of the Board. A great fun. Maybe I'll have him again for Almoravid or Inferno. We'll see.
Inferno.
I love the system. Played only Almoravid once for now, but I would like to play it again. Labyrinth, another CDG by Volko. And then this.
I asked you about this the other day, didn't I? If you own this in the Discord. I was going to buy it. But you own it, so it's all good.
So yeah, we can play it now. Yes, that's perfect. And
I won't try to pronounce it.
Dien Bien Phu. So that's the end of the war, the Indochina War. So the French war in Vietnam. So the first stage, I would say, of decolonization, just before the actual Vietnam War with the Americans. And this is the final battle, the decisive battle where French army collapsed, and at the same time they were starting to negotiate. I think it was in Evian, if I remember well. Maybe not Evian, not sure. Anyway, still haven't played it. Dan Bullock promised that he would come and do a teach and play, or at least teach me. And it's a Kim Kanger design. Kim Kanger, if you're following me on Twitter, you can see that I've talked a lot about Ici c'est la France, his game about the war in Algeria. So I really like what Kim Kanger does, and I'm really looking forward to trying this one. And then you've got Triumph and Tragedy here, and Conquest and Consequence here. So we covered this one. I would say maybe Conquest and Consequence is a bit of a step up from Triumph and Tragedy. It's a great system, 3-player, both economical, military, and a bit diplomatic. Very cool system, very interesting. That also inspires me for going back to what I was saying about Origins of World War II. Something like this could be interesting. But yeah, great game. And then you've got the Command and Color stuff. So Samurai Battles and Medieval. I love Medieval. I think I played Ancient, I played Napoleonic, I played Battle Lore. I still haven't played Samurai Battles, so still on the shame of shame. But Medieval, I played quite a lot, and I love it. I think
no expansions?
No expansions yet, but there is a new expansion coming up on the Crusades. So really looking forward to this, because then it means that we'll have some overlapping games battles between Command and Color Medieval and Infidel. So we'll be able to do some comparison on a battle level, which I think would be interesting to do with Stuart.
That would be cool.
Oh, we didn't talk about this, but
this is also this was the first game of the month.
This was the first game of the month. Washington's War by Mark Herman. Also did a teach and play. There is also a collective review that you can find on the podcast. I love it.
I haven't played it.
I didn't expect to love it that much, but yeah, it was an excellent surprise. The first card-driven game, and actually surprisingly fresh. Really, really cool design, really cool game. And it's going to be an interesting point of comparison for Supply Lines of the American Revolution.
Yeah, definitely. And then
Sekigahara, also Game of the Mounts, during the summer. Probably one of my favorite block games.
Same, like we said, same
system as Granada. Yeah, but Granada I haven't played yet.
Is there anything else?
I think that's it.
Here?
You've got some stuff here, and I would say that... Oh, yeah. That's a good point. So we have some clothes bags here, and those are 3 games by Matilda. So you've got the Royal Game of Ur, you've got the Hefnertafel here, and then you've got Turncoats.
Is Turncoats her own design?
Turncoats is her own design. Those are two, so one is a medieval game, the other is an ancient game.
Yeah.
And Hefnertafel, I really like it. I have the actually a version that you can see up there.
Yes, I can, yeah.
But I was happy to have a more portable version of it. I think it's an asymmetric abstract game from the Vikings. Awesome. I think it's great that
the production on these is really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
She makes them all.
Yes.
For the price.
So now they're actually printed and not embroidered anymore, but it still works really well. Yeah. I think it's really cool.
Well, for Turncoats, I know it's area control.
So yes, Turncoats is a bit like I would say, if I had to, in a nutshell, it's The King is Dead without cards, and it works super well. Really interesting game.
Yeah.
And I think this concludes. Get some of Matilda's game.
Definitely.
Just amazing. And I'm really looking forward to her PAX kind of game. I think that's going to be super excited about this. So we'll see.
I don't think there's anything
I think
else.
that's it. The thing that I would say is that's the announcement for the end.
Oh, yeah. There's almost too many games there. If only
and actually,
it was smaller.
It's more than this, because we haven't looked at the storage yet, and that's maybe for a future video. We'll go look at the storage, what's in the storage. But actually, the collection is a lot bigger. So you've got all the bagged games that are over there. You've got the storage downstairs where you have a lot more games, and that's too much. And what I said that I would promise is that now that you're watching this, I recommend that you subscribe to this show, because once we reach 5,000, my promise is that I'm going to slash that collection by 20%. And all of those games are going to be given away to subscribers of the show. So you just have to reach out, maybe pay for shipping, because I think it's going to be expensive for me to send Granada, for example, in Australia or something like this. But it would be a massive giveaway. And what doesn't end up being picked up by someone will probably be given to Oxfam or something like this. But the idea is, we'll do a video and we'll go game by game, slash, not slash, and I have to get rid of 20% of the collection. So subscribe. Thanks again, everyone, for getting to 4K. That was awesome.
Amazing.
I hope we get to 5K fast so I can make some room. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed that video. Thanks, Joe, for being that co-host. And see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.